Well, welcome to part 10 of our remake of the KidsCanCode shoot 'em up. Today we're doing power-ups in C# with Monogame. So we'll just get that into view and show you what we're up to. So I'm running in debug mode, so the background music has been switched off. As you can see, we've got these lightning bolts which allow us to fire two and a shield which just increases the value of our shield by a value between 10 and 30. So that's what the power-ups do. So because we're playing in debug mode, there's a 9 in 10 chance of creating a power-up. In non-debug mode, this would be a 1 in 10 chance, and of course everything's running much slower, but it's great to demonstrate what we're doing. So full shields, double guns. Now we can get insanely high scores. This is how I like to play my games, in cheat mode. Right, okay, so that's what we're up to today, and let's go through how it's done in C# and Monogame. So first thing, there's some changes to the player. We've now got a power public variable, so power is normally 1, in other words we can fire 1 laser, but if it's increased to 2 or more, then we can obviously fire 2, 1 from each side. In order to control that, we've got a power timer, so it's similar to the hide timer that was produced for hiding us and giving us lives. There's a power up new method here, and all that does is to increase the power by 1 and reset the power timer to 0, and this is called externally from the main file when we hit and destroy a or when the power-up runs into the player. So we'll deal with that in a moment. The update function, the way that works is for every frame where delta time is changed, the power timer increases by delta time. Once it reaches 5, which is of course 5 seconds, then it's reset to 0 and the power is returned to 1. So that's what gives us a 5-second use of a double laser. So that's how that one works. I think that's it. Yeah. So the player's just those minor changes. Now the power-up itself is a new class which is very similar to the mob class. So this one releases a graphic at the top of the screen which drops down vertically. It doesn't stray from side to side. There's no acceleration, it's all straight down, and it also has both rectangle and circle colliders, though whether both necessary or not I don't know, but we were using both in the others. So we've given it a fixed speed of 500, maybe in the, let's drop that to 400 for the non version, so that when you're not playing in debug mode, there. So right, so the power-up's a full class of course, so that it has a constructor, and we will be passing it an image dictionary of 2 images. So the 2 images that we'll be passing it are either the shield one or the what looked like a lightning strike one, which are available in the Space Shooter Redux, which is available from the description and the repository. In the PNG power-ups there is the bolt gold and the shield gold that are used for that. So we pass this dictionary of 2 images, and then what the constructor here does is it chooses one of those 2 images and then sets the rest of the properties according to which image that it's been given, including the type of image. So the type will either be gun or shield, and that's what's used to determine what happens when the player runs into it. The update function, very similar to the mob, it just increases the Y direction of the rectangle and drags the circle along with it. The draw just simply draws the image, and if it's in debug mode, it'll draw rectangle, or you could draw a circle, which is entirely up to you, around it. So the power up is relatively simple. Now to call it, if we go to the main one, I don't think there's anything new in the, no, there's no new things in the variables there. The check mob bullet collisions now is where we generate a power up. So once the bullet has hit a mob, there's a chance that it can generate a power up. So we've got this private variable RND, which is the next double value chosen at random. So it's going to be between 0 and 1. So if that value is greater than 0.9, so there's a 1 in 10th of chance of that, or if we're running in debug mode and the random is greater than 0.1, so there's a 9 in 10 of chance there, then it's going to add to our power up list a new power up by calling the constructor, and it will pass the images and then the rectangle that is equivalent to the center of the mob. So that's how that is generated, by just by random choice. There's a 1 in 10 chance of just generating a power up, which is simply added to the list. So that's all that one does there. The collision with the player is a new thing that we've had to set up, a check power up player collisions. So this is similar to the check mob player collisions. In other words, we're looking to if we run into a power up. So again, we're going through the list of power ups. If there's an intersection with the circle or rectangle, we fire off the necessary sound by determining the type, whether it's a shield type or a gun type. So if it's a shield type, we play the shield sound, and then we increase the value of the shield by a random amount between 10 and 30. If the shield goes over 100, we drop it back to 100. If the power up type is gun, then we use the player power up, which increases its value from 1 to 2 or more, depending on how many times this is hit, and then that will allow us to fire 2 lasers. So that's how the check power up works. Now the shoot thing has been altered so that again, we're checking whether we're allowed to shoot a bullet and that the player is not hidden. So yes, we can fire it. Now if the player's power, this is the new part, if the player's power is 1, then we do what we did before, just add a new bullet to the list, but this time I've passed it a center, so that we know that we're going to fire it from the center. If the power is more than 1, we're going to add 2 bullets to the list, one from the left and one from the right. So if we go back to the power bullet thing, let's just go to the constructor. So the bullet takes an alignment which is by default center, so if we don't supply anything, that's what it is. This is the UK spelling of center, by the way. I haven't made any compensation for the US spelling, so that might be something you want to add for yourselves. So what this one does is just chooses where the bullet should spawn at which point. So if we choose the left, it spawns it from the player's left side of the rectangle. If we choose the right, it spawns it from the right side of the player rectangle. That's why we are passing in, or we don't need to pass in the player, because it's a static class. It's available to the whole project anyway, which is one advantage of using static classes in C#, so we can just refer to it directly. So that's how that one's done. Let's just go back to the Powerup. No, that's fine, we've dealt with that, so let's go back to the main one. So that allows us to shoot. So what about the images? Okay, so we're adding a new couple of images, which is a new dictionary called Powerup Images, and we're adding the shield and the gun and loading in the shield gold or the bolt gold. Now remember to add these to your content pipeline. So we've been through this a couple of times. If you've not already done so, do add the images into that. Then they'll be available in your image list here. So we've got the bolt gold and the shield gold in there, which has been added to with this content pipeline. So you'll need to do that first. And then we've got a new empty list of power-ups. So that's what we add to when we're adding power-ups to the game. So that's how the images are dealt with, which is all done in the load images section here. In load content, update has a new call here to check Powerup player collisions, and the draw function has for each Powerup in Powerup list, again draw the Powerup. So again, very similar to the mob, to the explosion, to the bullet. We're repeating ourselves here, so that does the same job there. So that will give you your Powerups. So enjoy.